Hey everybody, welcome to the Irish Wrestling Podcast. This is your weekly news. What's happened in the world of wrestling this week? A lot of news from all the promotions. We're going to start off with some TNA news regarding contract status for some people. It wasn't, mentioned or announced or was confirmed yet that Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin are officially gone from TNA. Is that confirmed now, Corey? Is that
It's their contracts expire on April 1st, so that they did have a kind of a going away party at the tapings last night. That was their last date, I believe, for TNA. I'm not completely sure. Obviously, again, this is Sean's story and PW Insider story, so they would obviously be people to ask more about that. But yeah, it does look like that they will be leaving or at least exploring free agency
yeah,
before making a decision, and I am very excited for that. So I think you, as well as anyone in Ireland, is very, very familiar with More
yeah.
City Machine Guns from their time in TNA
Mm-hmm.
years ago. They were the faces of the tag team division for
For a
so
while, long time.
long.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're still wrestling at such a high level at the age that they are now, with all the stuff that they've done throughout their careers, spots that they've done, and stuff like that, they could walk into any promotion in the world right now and be a top tag team. And
Yeah,
that's no, I don't think that's hyperbole.
what like they're very well known if you're a big TNA fan or if you've been watching Impact or TNA for the last 20 odd years, like you would know them. Like up until recently, Chris Sabin was the X Division champion and Alex was the TNA champion, so they were considered big single stars as well as a tag team. The fact that they're leaving together is a big loss for TNA, but will they be well, like if they were to appear, like I'm not sure if this is a fantasy booking thing where they'd show up in the tag match in WrestleMania. Would they get and they're not going to get the Hardy level pop? Would it be a big pop, or would you be
They would get a
see them
big
in
pop, I think.
NXT and
I
work their
think
way
they
up?
would. I think you just put that idea in my head, and it's not. I don't think it's as big a fantasy as people would think. I do. I don't see why it couldn't happen if they did decide to go to WWE. If they decided, right, it's time to settle down now, time to get paid. Why
Hmm.
the hell not? Why not? Even if they don't get the pop that the Hardys got, they will get a pop. Like there's no, I have no doubt in my mind that they will be recognized by enough of the crowd to get a very
Hmm.
big reaction. Big enough like the Hardys? No, but
No, of course, no,
that's
yeah,
a pop. That's a pop that I don't think will ever be rivaled at WrestleMania by
no,
any single star. But you just kind of have to look at Cody, really. I know it's not the same, obviously, TNA, but they are veterans. They have been around longer than Cody. And like we have said, they were the faces of TNA's tag team division, and
hmm
TNA was the only alternative for a long time. So a lot of people are familiar with them to that extent. And I'd say of all tag teams in TNA history, if you were to ask anyone, just any random wrestling
hmm
fan to name a TNA tag team, that's who they'd say.
yeah.
I do not believe that they would say anyone else. Maybe Beer Money or uh, I honestly, I right now, like I'm so thinking so much about these lads, I can't think of any other ones. But you get
Yeah.
my point. Like
Although
they've
the
been
people
to,
who haven't already been in WWE, like Dudley's or
and
whatever, like, but they
yeah,
are they are the
3D,
tag
yeah,
team of TNA. They were the guys like for that division.
and like you said, they're not just tag team guys. They are both. Alex Shelley has been. I'm pretty sure he's still the Wrestling Revolver champion at the moment as well, which is
Think so, yeah.
still a prominent promotion in the US. And to be fair, dropping the TNA title the way he did, like it's not like he looked bad doing it.
Hmm.
And again, Jesus, like they're two of the very best tag team workers of all time, in my opinion. Uh, I just think that there's so many matches for them everywhere. They could wrestle in New Japan. They could take on some tag teams over there. They could come over to AEW. They could wrestle Ring of Honor for all I care and wrestle some of those teams.
Yeah.
There's so many tag teams of the present, the future that are around right now that would benefit so much from just working one match with them. As for NXT, I do not think they should be anywhere near NXT. I do not think they have any need to be in NXT, and they do not have long left. So if they do go to WWE, I think that is exactly what you do. I think that is where you make their debut at that ladder match. And I think that is actually a brilliant call from you. I know you said it was a fantasy,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Well,
And this is
I had two fantasies. It was either that or the Good Brothers beat the Wolf Dogs at Stand and Deliver, and Shelley and Sabin come out after it, and they've already had matches in TNA, in the past. So
not as again not a bad shout in the slightest. That's a good shout as well. If they were to go into NXT, I imagine it wouldn't be for long.
yeah,
I
just a quick
imagine
one,
it.
just to reintroduce them to people and then bring them
Yeah,
straight up.
I don't. I if they do, and I don't think the sky would be falling if they did. There'd be a lot of discourse about how, oh my God, they're going to NXT. There's probably the same amount that's going to happen with Julia when she ends up going to NXT. But the reality is, she probably needs it. They don't.
Yeah,
I I put that idea in my head now, man. That's all I'm going to be
yeah.
thinking about now to Mania. But see, they're officially free agents on April 1st. Yeah,
hmm
that's what we know. We don't know what their decision is going to be, whether they're going to just take their time or they're going to want to hit the ground running in another promotion. You mentioned two options there. You mentioned Mania, Stand and Deliver. I counter after the finals of the AEW Tag Team Tournament.
Yeah.
See, they're this is another thing that I think people do not really talk about enough in wrestling right now. Free agency is possibly the most lucrative it has ever
Yeah,
possibly been.
that definitely way bigger than it's been forever.
This and it's not just like all the reports of like Okada's salary, Mercedes' offers, and so on and so forth. It's the fact that the situations are just perfect for them. For most City Machine Guns, they're coming out of contract with TNA
hmm
right as the two biggest companies in the United States are both running big matches to do with tag team divisions where they
hmm
could make their debut. Well, it wouldn't be the AEW debut, but you get my point.
Yeah.
So it's the same situation with like Drew and with WWE and All In. It's like they have so many options and to drive that price up. And I'm so happy about that personally.
There is some
Uh,
wild cards still for that tournament, right? They haven't announced,
yeah, no, I think everyone's been
have
announced
they?
for the tournament. Yeah, I think that's been confirmed. But to be fair, there's options for them after that tournament. But just so we don't get too off base and start rambling about every free agent. Yeah, that news is something for me. And just to end on on this topic, just on something that's kind of like a personal thing for me. More City Machine Guns for me, other than the Hardys, for me, they're probably my favorite tag team of all time.
Really?
Probably, yeah. Just growing, like that's the thing. I'm a TNA kid. I
Yeah.
am a TNA kid. I'm only 25 years old, so I grew up watching TNA on Challenge and on other channels in Ireland.
Yeah.
So they were always there. So yeah, like I would love to see them in either promotion. It doesn't really make much difference to me. I'd love to see them get that Mania moment. They deserve it. They absolutely 100% deserve it at this point in their careers. But other than that, either promotion, there's so many matchups for them that I think no matter what, fans are going to win.
Yeah. It's a huge loss for TNA. And I know there was rumors that have been squashed now regarding Killer Kelly. But you know, there could be more people in TNA's contracts that are coming up. We don't know what's going to happen there with the way things have gone since the new takeover. So
It's concerning in a
mhm.
lot of ways because obviously with Scott D'Amore being ousted the way he was, like that regardless of like reports and like everyone who's talked about Scott, it's all been glowing reviews. They've
Mhm.
all been sad to see him go. That will affect morale
Oh
heavily.
yeah. Would
But
you?
at the same time, TNA is still in a good position in my
Oh, yeah,
opinion.
absolutely.
Like Leon Slayer finally on TNA TV last week.
Yeah.
Finally had a big showcase, and we know how good he is. We've seen him wrestle so many times over in Ireland and in the UK. But so they have. It's not like the sky's falling for TNA. I don't think it is, and
No.
it's completely 100% possible that the Motor City Machine Guns decide right, fielded the offers from WWE, from AEW, from New Japan even. And they could turn around and decide, right, we want to just stay where we feel we belong and stay in TNA. We don't know yet. There's
Yeah.
no indication what way they're going to go at this point in time. So, and as you said, Killer Kelly quickly squashed those
hmm
rumors. those rumors have been squashed really quickly. She's not going anywhere. She's a star for their knockouts division for years to come. She's already very over. She's one of the better talents that they have.
Yeah.
And Josh Alexander, regardless of how they did extend his contract, he's going to be there for another while, regardless.
Yeah.
And we all know how good he is, and he's not going to phone it in. He's going to keep putting on match of the year contenders.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, TNA in general, I think they'll have to put their money where their mouth is to sign some people. They're going to need to sign some of the free agents. They've been doing that now. So they have been signing them. Nic Nemeth obviously is a big people with how we'll get to him later. I'd say.
Yeah.
But they just need to just keep trying to attract these big names. I'd like to see them get Camille. I think Camille would be very good in TNA. I think she would be lost in the shuffle a little bit in WWE and not so much in AEW. In WWE, I think she will, because there's obviously her big selling point is the size of her. She towers over most lads, but you look in WWE, that's not exactly rare in WWE. You've got Bianca, you've got Jade, you've got Rhea, you've got Nia, who's pretty tall as well.
Yeah.
It's not a big standout, and she is a great wrestler behind that. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like she would thrive more in somewhere like AEW, where she can show that off more and use her size, because AEW you haven't got as many. You've got Nyla, really, who could match up to her physically. Obviously, people want to see Layla Hirsch rematch, because that image will never leave wrestling fans' minds. But yeah, she again. And now I've just thought of a Megan Bayne matchup, which would also be incredible. So, yeah, so TNA in general, I just hope that they can hit the ground running for the rest of 2024. And I think that with having talent like Mustafa Ali as your X Division champion, taking that title all over the world as part of his world tour, that's only going to help brand more. And having Grizzly Young veterans there as well, they're obviously not signed either. They're not signing these talents, but again, they're appearing for them. And maybe down the road they'll decide to sign them. Maybe they'll go elsewhere. We don't know, but you can't say that they're just the sky is falling because a couple of talent are leaving. If it keeps going this way, but they're also replacing these talent. Like Alex Hammerstone, still the ink on his contract is still drying.
Yeah.
That's still drying at this point. For all we know, Mustafa Ali might decide to sign with them permanently. Even I hope he doesn't, because I really want to see him in Ireland again. Please, Mustafa, if you're watching this somehow, please come to Ireland. But yeah, just to end that point, because talking about TNA quite a bit.
That's okay. They deserve it. They've had a good run. I hope it continues. Going to AEW news, we're recording this on a Sunday because we were hoping to review AEW Collision, but it didn't actually happen. The second time in the last few weeks that this hasn't happened. What's going on? Why isn't what's going on with Collision?
NCW basketball, I think.
Really?
I think it's basketball. I don't know. I don't pay enough attention to American sports to really know. And I probably should, given the fact that it's so important to AEW's schedule. But yeah, I think it was basketball was on. I think March Madness is on now. So they just decided that instead of trying to run it up against and just end up scoring probably the worst ratings they could, they've decided just to cut their losses and not run it.
Why didn't they run it on a Friday? They could have done it just once off Friday, because Rampage was live on Wednesday, wasn't it?
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you why they didn't do that. But next week's show should be fun. Copeland's already said that he's going to do
Cope Open,
Cope Open, so that'll be fun. If he makes that title, if he ends up making that title with John Cena made the United States Championship with open challenges, that will be the perfect end to his career. If that's what he wants to do going out, all the power to him. And it'd be really, really nice to see that for Adam Copeland and for John Cena, two talents that over the years were everyone called selfish and greedy and stuff like that. I think a lot of people forget that a lot over the years. Edge really did have a lot of haters before he was forced to retire. He had just as many. He
was personal reasons, though. I think more than anything else.
Yeah, but that's something that's kind of just everyone's just kind of forgotten about. But I think that's a testament to wrestlers forget about stuff, fans will forget about it
Hmm.
too, because people seem to care more about Reby and Matt than anything that happened back then now. Like, so,
Yeah, yeah. He's a
but
grizzled old veteran now.
yeah.
What do you make of his match with Christian, the I Quit match?
I thought it was perfect for what it had to be. I found myself cringing a lot because it's two lads who were told that they weren't medically cleared
Hmm.
not too long ago. Two lads take, and someone pointed out that Christian takes probably the craziest ladder bumps, like the most ladder bumps of anyone. Like no matter what match he's in, he finds a way to take a ladder bump if it has a stipulation. And just looking at that match, just, again, like I have to say, like these guys are both getting on like at this point. These guys
Hmm.
shouldn't like 10 years ago if they were this age, they'd be happily retired. And
They still have fucking 16 years on Sting though.
yeah,
Or
and
third.
like Christian again, as usual, just perfect. Just perfect weasel. He's
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
perfect weasel. Nigel McGuinness on commentary enabling him, perfect. The match itself, perfect. A lot of people complained about the screen cut into black right as he hit him in the nads with
Hmm.
the spike.
That's like
I thought actually it was quite fun because it's almost like, all right, this lad's just lost all chance of ever having another child. We're gonna cut now so it's not too embarrassing for him. But and again, I really, really, really want Luchasaurus just away from all this. I don't know what they're going to do with him or kill switch or whatever his goddamn name is. Just I don't know what they're going to do with him. I don't know how they're going to fix this. But he is just like he's not been buried by any one loss or one thing that's happened. It's been a culminative thing of just him looking like an idiot,
weak. Yeah, he's
weak
just
and an idiot. I'm
a
sorry.
big goof.
Yeah, like he's supposed to be the threat. It doesn't help that he's not taller. He's barely taller than Christian. Like Bix has brought that up so many times, and I, I have my disagreements with Bix at times, but he's so right about that. I see Christian standing there and Luchasaurus standing in the background trying to look as big as humanly possible, and he's about an inch taller than him and about 3 inches taller than Nick Wayne.
Hmm.
I can't take it seriously. If you're gonna treat him as a monster, put him in there with the smaller guys for
Like
God's sake.
Jungle
There
Boy,
is
maybe.
there's enough of them. Like this is the thing. Everyone's always like, oh, AEW, it's full of all the vanilla midgets. They're not using them properly,
You know what
clearly.
I would have took him. I know you can't do it now, like, but I would put him with Adam Cole and left Wardlow, do his own thing, and let him be the heater. Let him take all the losses for Adam
Take
Cole.
off
Like,
the goddamn mask as
ah,
well.
that's just stupid now at this stage. Like,
Like they had the
make any
perfect
sense?
opportunity to drop it. Like
They
so,
should have
and
done
like
a Kane moment when
yeah,
he removed his mask, and then that'd have
yeah.
been it. And never go back.
Never go back and like I don't know his reasons for wanting to keep using it. Obviously, we don't know his reasons for wanting it, but they got sued over the usage of the mask. I can't understand why they wouldn't just drop it. It doesn't add anything to his character. He doesn't make him look more threatening. It just makes him look a bit goofy, to be honest. It was okay when he was actually playing this
Jungle.
dinosaur character where it was literal, like he was an actual dinosaur. He's wearing a mask. See this? Now he's this kill switch. The same mask, black. It just doesn't work. But again, going off on a bit of a tangent here, I'm going to go back to the actual question that you asked. Um, yeah, it was a perfect main event. People said it was a very sports entertaining. I don't like that idea. A
Hey,
wrestling match doesn't have just because a wrestling match is heavy on the story doesn't mean that it's sports entertainment. Kenny Omega and uh, Kazuchika Okada, their best match, they told so much of a story just by how they rest. Like one of the best spots in that match, going for the Rainmaker, Kenny collapses. That one moment is probably the moment that was played the most.
yeah.
It's the little things like that, the over dramatification of a simple moment, and that's what we got in that,
You
and
have
that's
no
what I
like
loved about it.
with the history, like there was no other way around. You have to tell a story between those two. You can't just have a match that's out of nowhere, like regardless if there was any backstory to it in
Yeah,
AEW. Like we were going to have story with them. It's
yeah.
impossible not to.
we were talking about legendary tag teams. So you don't get much more legendary than Edge and Christian, like,
You know?
and and like again, callbacks to their career by using ladder matches, ladders, chairs,
Mhm.
tables. They use pretty much everything they could get their hands on, and it was a fun I Quit match. And
Hockey jerseys.
the hockey jerseys was a spot that even as someone who doesn't have I know that it's Toronto and I know
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it's someone else. I know that much. It's a fun spot. It's a hockey fight in a hockey
In a
box.
hockey
Let
box.
it's fun. It's fun. Do it. Like I'm all for
Absolutely.
it. Even if it doesn't connect with me as much as it would people who actually actively watch hockey, it's still a fun spot. Go ahead, do it. And that's kind of how I felt about the whole match. It was just a lot of fun. The
What do you do?
dives.
What do you do now with Nick Wayne's mother? Do you get rid of her? Is
Oh,
she...
just end it. Just end it. For God's sake, please just take her off television. I get it. She's trying her best. She's not a talent by any stretch of the imagination. Like, and that's not me like saying, oh, she's not talented. That's me just saying she's not a talent
Worker.
in the industry. Yeah, she's not a worker. So she's doing her best. But if I have to hear her say that people would boo a mother, I'm going to off myself. It is the worst. I'm sorry. I get why. Okay, it's heat. I get it, and it's working clearly because it annoys the shit out of me. But my God, I want to bash my skull in every time I hear her do it. It's the tone that she uses. I don't know. It's the cadence, whatever. And I want Nick Wayne separated from that storyline.
Mhm.
I love what he's doing. I think he's brilliant at what he's doing. I think Christian is brilliant at what he's doing. I think Perrin works to an extent, but I want him to wrestle more. I want him to
Actually
wrestle more.
wrestle, not go on there just to
Yeah,
lose.
not even just to lose, to just be the one that takes both or wins a match for Christian. Like,
Hmm.
and there's such a like they have a great story to tell now. If Christian, I want right. If Christian needs to take some time off because he needs surgery for obvious reasons, kayfabe, obviously, uh, just tell the story of Nick Wayne trying to win the title back for his dad. Just tell that story. Just have Nick Wayne start building up wins. Have him win by kill switch, help him. I don't give a crap. Just give us 15-minute matches with Nick Wayne against anyone. Because you see what's happening with Keshta.
Hmm.
The minute you give these young talents the spotlight, people are going to love them. Nick Wayne had that match with Swerve, yeah. That wasn't even close to what they did at Defy, by the way.
Yeah, 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 I saw that. Yeah.
But it was still a fantastic match. And Nick looked phenomenal in it, and Swerve gave him everything. Just push the kid and let him sink or swim. Because I tell you one thing, he won't sink. He is made for this industry. And pairing him with Christian was genius. And
Yeah.
now that like I've had time to
Hmm.
digest it and see how they work together. But I really, really would like to see him away from his mother, away from the whole his dad's dead story. I just let him be the prodigy because he is that good.
Hmm.
He's like there are those talents in the industry who are so young, and the minute you see them wrestle, you're just like, these are going to be one of the greatest of all time. Nick Wayne, Takeshita, Roxanne Perez, at okay, greatest ever might be pushed now. Okay, I'm going to walk that statement back, but they're going to be great. You know they're going to be great. So Nick, it falls into that category for me, and I really do hope that they start letting him wrestle more because
Yeah.
he's so good, and they are loaning him out to indie promotions, which is good. Keep giving him reps, but he really does need that time in the ring on TV to really get used to
Yeah.
it. Because at the end of the day, there's only so much you can get used to about working when you're on the outside and you're just doing sneak attacks or you're just taking bumps. Like, so yeah, I hope Mother Wayne is phased out slowly. I maybe she could stick around for a while with Christian. I don't think her character was ever going to be a long-term face on AEW television anyway. So yeah, just with regards to that storyline, I'd like to be honest, next Saturday, Nick Wayne answering that Cope Open challenge or a kill switch opening it or accepting it. Either way, just there's options for Copeland. I don't really know what Christian does when he comes back though.
It's hard to know, but see what happens. Before
Yeah.
we move on from that, just slightly involved with that, Jack Perry, the talk of him, and his contract status and New Japan and things that's going on? Has that all been confirmed? I know he's still under contract with AEW, but is
This
he?
is it's such a messy
Mm,
situation. It remains a messy situation, and I'm not going to judge other outlets report and so on, but I don't think I think the very few people who do know about what's going on are Jack Perry, Tony Khan, Rocky Romero, and maybe Brian Danielson or someone like that. I don't think many people are in the know about what's going on with these two because, as we know, when stuff like this happens, it's usually dealt with in-house at
yeah,
AEW.
yeah.
There's no even with suspensions and stuff like that, they do leak. Obviously, they are reported, but there's not a lot that's said it's not really addressed. Tony does never talk about these
Mm.
issues, which I think is completely fair for him not to talk about it. But some people seem to think that that's a
Can't
problem
talk
for him
up,
to
can't talk about
like.
everything.
He can't talk about stuff that he's legally hamstrung. He
Mm.
can't talk about. But with regards to all this reporting about Jack Perry, I think a lot of people need to realize that he is the victim of a tremendous overreaction. I do not. I think he's a bit silly for wanting to use real glass. I think in wrestling, if you're going to use glass, real glass like that, you definitely don't use it the way that he wanted to. You use it
Not
in a
on a
way like how.
pre-show.
No, you don't use it on a pre-show. You don't
No.
use it as part of your bill. You use it
Hmm.
at the pay-per-view if you're in a pay-per-view position, and you have to abide by the safety regulations. That wasn't the problem with that whole situation with what was wrong with Punk being upset about it. I don't think there's anyone being upset about it, and I don't think
Yeah.
anyone rational would.
His
The,
reaction more, there's Cry Me a
it's,
River and go backstage, and it was aimed straight at Punk. Like,
I think Jack shouldn't have said it. I
no,
don't think
at all.
I've said many times, but it still does not warrant the reaction of Punk. It does not warrant Jack being frozen out, as some have reported. I, if he is being frozen out, I think that is a tremendous overreaction on the part of Tony Khan because I think it's kind of I can't speculate to what Punk wanted
Hmm.
when that happened, but it's not Tony Khan's fault. It's not Jack Perry's fault. I think that whole situation was just a combustible situation that everyone
It,
could have been
it
better.
probably would have happened at some stage if there was. I'm gonna. I'm. I'm
And
an.
again,
Jesus Christ, can't even say the word.
I
Animosity between them.
yeah, I can't like obviously I can't say if I say anything and someone finds this podcast on wrestling Twitter, I'm going to be fucking hamstrung for
Yeah.
speculating. So I'm not going to say a goddamn
No.
thing about that. I just think that based off on what's been reported, I've no idea if Sean is working on something to do with it, but I would definitely wait for Sean's reporting on it. And but from what I've seen, I think Jack Perry is someone who will be back in AEW and he'll
Hmm.
come back with a bang. He is not going to come back with a whimper. He's going. I think they're regardless of what's going on right now. The scapegoat story is a brilliant idea. It is a fantastic idea, and all these reports just add to it. Whether they're true or not, whether they're like, he's going to
People
have
are paying
so
attention to him.
people are
That's
noticing.
that's all that matters.
The Punk stands are
Hmm.
rabid for him to be buried. He, I don't think he will be at any point. I think when he comes back, he'll be 10 times the man he was when he before All In. He was good. He was getting there, but I think his work in New Japan, despite being with House of Torture, which is a death sentence to anyone's
Hmm.
career, he's been fun. It's not great. It's not fantastic. But if you see the bones of what he's doing and what he's hoping to build on the story, now this is going to sound like the most crazy idea ever, and it's going to be buried by anyone who listens to this. But there's a story in wrestling that we all kind of mock a lot. The story of a little faction called Retribution.
Hmm.
That was a bad idea. Sorry, it was
Badly
bad
executed.
implementation, badly executed idea. The idea was not bad.
Hmm.
The idea of a faction or something trying to destroy a promotion, it makes sense, but you don't go and then say, "Oh, these people have been hired because they've done this, this, and this," and Vince McMahon wants to keep an eye on them. just have Jack Perry rip up his contract again, but this time on AEW television. Give him the microphone, let him talk, do an MJF, let him go off
Mm-hmm.
on the entire situation. Keep him within, get him backstage, say, you cannot talk about this, this, and this legally. You can innuendo about this, this, and this. Get him, sit him down with someone, sit him down with Max, who's excellent promo, as we know, and who literally did that
That
promo. Okay, right. Okay, I'm not okay. I'm not going to go further into the whole
no,
Max thing. I'm not talking
don't
about
mention
the
it because we don't know
no.
what's going on there.
But if he's re-signed, um, throw him, throw Jack a bone, and have the pair of them sit down and write that promo out themselves. Obviously, have Tony approve it, have Legal approve it. Don't mention Punk specifically. Just give it a little wink, like how Punk's been doing. If Punk can't handle that, that's his problem. At the end of the day, let Jack Perry build heat off this. Let him be the antagonist that really could. As a babyface, he was stalling. We all know that. As a heel, he was only getting started.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you have a chance here now to really, the best thing you can do for Jack Perry is to not ignore the whole situation. Keep doing the scapegoat stuff. Keep doing stuff where he calls out AEW in his promos in New Japan. Who knows? Keep him there till Forbidden Door and then bring him back
Mm-hmm.
for Forbidden Door.
That's what I was thinking. Like he keep him there. Like he needs the experience over there anyway. He needs to change
And
up his game a bit.
and then what I'm sorry, but like there's so many options for him. Have him do all this, have him do all the scapegoat stuff, then have him backstage at an AEW show randomly, and then have him walk into the Young Bucks' locker room. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do to sell the reason why he's back in AEW after all after doing it all. He joins the new elite. Why wouldn't they want to bring him in with their current characters? It'd
Mm-hmm.
be perfect. It'd be like perfect wink to the whole Punk stuff like they've been doing. Just like there's options for AEW right now with Jack Perry, and
Yeah.
I think a lot of people who are saying, "Oh, his career's over," are going to be very surprised in 6 months. I
Yeah.
can tell you.
Well, speaking of the elite, I just mentioned that Okada defeated Eddie Kingston. What was your thoughts on Okada coming in and actually going heel straight away with the elite?
I love it. I love everything about Okada as a heel. To be honest, I think I don't think he worked with Eddie as well as a lot of people thought he would. I don't think the match itself
Mm-hmm.
was as good as people expected. I thought it was fun. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think they meshed well together, which is fine. Some opponents just don't mesh well together. They might that I it's undoubtable that they'll do it again at some point,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion. It's too good of a match not to try one more time. But as for belting them up, brilliant idea. Fastest championship win in AEW history at this point, probably by far.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
something that Tony has been kind of against doing. And I think that's been a mistake on his part. I think that striking while the iron is hot has been something that AEW should have done a couple of times. And I think it's very situational. If a champ or if there's someone currently lined up to beat that champ, like say right now, Joe, everyone thinks Swerve is lined up. You don't want the new signing coming in taking that title. But
Mm-hmm.
Eddie did what he needed to do as Continental Champion. Now let him go back to defending the Ring of Honor World title. Let him hold that
Yeah.
title for a little longer, and then when he comes back from that reign, he goes after the AEW World title later down the line. There's a lot of options for AEW with titles, so I think with Okada, he's going to have a lot of really fun matches. And the fact that his first match is with Pac,
Mm-hmm.
holy shit, that's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I hope Pac is around for a while. I know he doesn't, he does 6 months back home or something, doesn't he? He takes time off or
He's
he stays.
healthy now.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
healthy
Hope,
now, which is the most important thing.
yeah. Somebody else who made their debut and made an impact in the women's division, Mercedes came in, and by the looks of things, the women's division is getting a lot more
Attention.
spotlight. And
Yeah.
opening up the show, closing the shows. About damn time. What do
Yeah.
you see her first feud go? She's not going straight after Julie Hart, is she?
I think like I really hope they don't turn Willow Nightingale heel for this. I really, really hope they don't do something that's stupid. I'm sorry, but this is not a Sky Blue situation.
Mm-hmm.
Sky Blue turned and it benefited her a lot. She needed the character development. She needed the the edge about her character. Willow Nightingale's wholesomeness is probably the most endearing thing in professional wrestling right now. And I
Her
have no
her
problem saying that.
entrance, I couldn't imagine her entrance, on a heel. Like they couldn't change, they can't get rid of that entrance. It's too
It
happy.
it's just I don't doubt that she'd be a perfectly fine heel. She's very talented. She's fantastic at what she does right now, and she's still very young, so it could be beneficial for her career long term to turn. But for this story, I don't think she's the one who should turn. I know they want Mercedes to be a face for obvious reasons. That's that's where the
Hmm.
draw is. But she's such a better heel, and
She
I'm sorry,
is. She is.
but
Her character's a heel.
she has all the justification in the world to turn heel on Willow. Willow has
Hmm.
none. It looks like Willow is just that's another thing as well. I don't really necessarily think Willow is turning, or that's what they're hinting at. I think it's more she's just kind of like afraid almost of
Mm.
retribution for Mercedes for the ankle injury. Like
She's
like
watching her own back.
like I think she's just worried, and that fits with her character. She's this innocent, wholesome being of a human being. Like
Hmm.
that sounds like a weird way to describe it, but that's just what she is. She's just so happy and wholesome. Like and that's what we need more of in wrestling. To be honest,
What about
more gimmicks.
Statlander? Would you put her heel?
Statlander,
She needs to, she's fantastic in the ring, and her character now,
she's
she's not playing the alien gimmick anymore, like, but
I
she
hate
could do with a change up.
the thing is if they're going to book the women better now, they have no excuse to not have women's tag titles. If they have the roster to do it. I know people are saying AEW have too much titles, too much this, too much that. Those titles would be more beneficial to the AEW women's tag division or women's division than any title before it. Because look at the women's matches that get the most hype in AEW more often than not. It's
Mhm.
always the tag team street fights. Now you add a stake the championship on top of that. That puts even more into that, and that is the signature of the AEW women's tag division right now. And with Britt still not back yet, they don't really
Mhm.
have many women who want to do these hardcore matches. Like obviously they did have that street fight, and obviously Sky Blue has been very, very vocal about wanting to do it. But right now, I don't think people should be judging the ratings at all. But we
Well,
were
no,
talking
no.
about this beforehand. Mercedes is going to create a bump, but it's not going to be immediate. People need to
Hmm.
realize that these things need to take time for casual fans to find this stuff out. But once casual fans who don't live on the internet find out, they will start watching, they will start tuning in. Will it be a massive bump? Probably not.
They have.
Cable in
Hmm.
the US is a dying breed. Like we all know this. It's been said countless times by people who actually know about this stuff, but no one seems to give a crap what the actual people in the know think about this. Just what podcasters anyway. Um,
What? Who? Those fuckers.
not
Those fuckers.
you know, I don't mean you. I mean the bitter ones, like the ex wrestlers who just can't keep their goddamn mouth shut. But yeah, like Mercedes for me is a star. She'll always be a star,
Hmm.
whether it's a Sasha Banks, whether it's a Mercedes Monet. I'm gonna say it. I think her team's fucking awesome. I don't think it's bad in the slightest. I think the rapping's good. I think it's a great sell immediately to get chance. I know people are like saying, "Oh, they need to do it." There's so many themes in WWE by Def Rebel that are built around trying to get a reaction from the
Hmm.
crowd, like clapping
Yeah.
or like something
Oh,
going, or that every goddamn song has a shout
oh.
in it to get, yeah. But that's the thing. Mercedes comes into AEW and it's like that. The
CEO,
crowd
and they were chanting it straight away.
immediately, it took maybe 5 seconds after the graphic came up for
Hmm.
fans to start chanting along. I don't know if that's a testament to AEW crowds versus WWE
That's clever
crowds.
marketing. It's just
It's
clever marketing.
it's great idea.
Mm.
All in, there's going to be two entrances that are going to stand out the most. Mercedes Moné
Hmm.
for for that many people chanting CEO and Will Ospreay's elevated, they will be the two entrances that are going to
Mm-hmm.
just elevated last year was good.
Was brilliant,
This
but this
this
year,
year going into a world title match, which we all assume is going to happen.
uh, uh,
Holy goddamn shit! But yeah, Mercedes. I do hope it's Willow first. I do want to say that. I do hope it's Willow first. I want Mercedes to be revealed as the one to attack Chris personally. I think that's very clear that that's the way
would
that's
you
going.
put her with Stokely? Is
Who?
he Willow or Mercedes?
No, Mercedes does not need a mouthpiece. As
Not
much
a
as I love
not a
Stokely,
mouthpiece, more of a heater, like somebody who like opens the door to
nah,
her Escalade, or somebody who carries her bags.
I
You know
think
that.
Stokely is too. I love Stokely. I think he's hilarious. I think he's a great
Yeah, he's
manager for what
brilliant.
he is, but he's not a Mercedes Monet. Like I didn't even like when he was with Jade
Mm.
because he's like I don't know. I think he's got some fun going on right now with Willow and Chris, especially with Chris. I think there's a lot of money in Chris and Stokely. I think Mercedes turning on Chris and Willow, but also kind of turning around and going to Julia and Sky and just disrespecting them. And like,
Hmm.
I'd love to see Mercedes just lay them all out with something, with a weapon or something, just to be like, this is my division now, kind of thing. And it's kind of hard to do that when it's about the TBS
Yeah,
championship
yeah,
and
yeah.
TBS champion and the women's world champion is still busy. But you have that feeling that they're waiting for someone for that women's world title right now. And we don't know anything about it. And it's driving me insane that we don't know anything about Jamie Hayter and when she's going to be back. But you do get that feeling that they're waiting for her,
Hmm.
for Tony. Maybe all in. Maybe that's the
It's a
match they're going
long
to put all
wait.
in. I know, but like that that's the only reason I can think of that they didn't throw Mercedes straight at the women's world title. As much as I love what Diana's doing, as much as I love that Thunder Rosa is now targeting that title again, putting that title on Mercedes within 6 months is not a bad thing. It would never be a bad thing. I don't think she should work with Saraya anytime soon, like people
Hmm.
want. And that's again not a bad thing for Saraya. I just don't think that that's a fun program. I think the only real fun part about that is that Mercedes injured Saraya original. Well,
Hmm.
not broke the straw that broke. I'm not finishing that sentence.
Camel's back.
No, I was going to say neck, and then I was like, I'm
I
not
know.
making that
That's
comment.
that is a long-term feud, like, but I don't know if it needs a title.
No, I don't. I don't think Mercedes needs the title anytime soon. I think it'd be smart business to put it on her, but I, I don't know. I'm very excited to see what she does. I think people need to realize how stacked that AEW women's division is. You could throw a dart. I think I said this to you when we
Mm.
were talking about AEW last time. You could throw a dart at world title contenders. You could do the same in women's division. There's very few women in that division who aren't ready for a main event match, who aren't good enough to be in a main
Hmm.
event match. There's a few, don't get me wrong, but like that's the thing. WWE have plenty of talent who aren't ready for a main event position yet. Like that's just how it works. But AEW do have a lot. They've got Chris, they've got Willow, they've got Thunder Rosa, they've got Julia, they've got Sky, they've got Mercedes, they've got Jamie Hayter waiting in the wings. They've got
Hmm.
Britt Baker who's just waiting to come back for creative at this point. They've got Tony, they've got they've got Deanna, they've got Mariah May, they've got Megan Bay. Like there's like you just
And
keep going.
they have Athena sitting in Ring of Honor waiting.
Exactly. Like they have and Sheeta in Ring of Honor now as well.
Hmm.
They've got Rio, who only they use every fucking 3 weeks at this point. But to be honest, Mercedes is going to have an incredible streak of feuds. I think, no matter who she
Do you
works
know
with.
what they need? Another tournament, a women's tournament,
Women's Continental Classic.
something
I'm
like that.
sorry, they have the roster for it.
They do,
I
and I know it's another tournament, but they do need something to showcase them all.
I could name my field of how many was it, 12 for the Continental
Well,
Classic?
6 in either side. Yeah, yeah,
Yes, you could fill that out easily
yeah.
right now with 12 the best, not even 12 the best. You could take out two or three and you could still have a stack because you have to have people that are going to eat the pin,
Hmm.
like Daniel Garcia and Mark
Yeah.
Briscoe were. So I don't know. I
That's
think the
a
women's division are in a great position.
that's
I think
definitely something that could happen.
yeah.
Before we move on from AEW, just to mention that Will Ospreay promo, like, phenomenal is a word that's used a lot in wrestling, like, but I thought it was outstanding. Um,
The
he
idea that,
comes across just as himself. He's not trying to over Americanize himself. He just doesn't
yeah,
get, he's just as Essex as it comes, like, and people are loving it, which is a
I'm sorry.
surprise.
One of my favorite parts of Wednesday's Dynamite was when he came out and he saw there was a sign in front row that just had "bruv"
Bro,
on it, and he saw it and pointed at it, and he did this like big like
skip.
celebration, like a
Yeah, yeah,
little
yeah.
kid. Yeah, he was so happy, and he seemed so genuinely happy to be. And the fact that he's wrestling Shibata next week, just that I like. It's not fair to other wrestlers that this man is on weekly television. It's not, and it's even. And this is the thing. Dave Meltzer said that Will Ospreay is more charismatic than Cody Rhodes. I don't agree with that statement to an extent, but I think it's not a big of a stretch as people are making out. I think Will Ospreay is exceptionally charismatic.
Hmm.
I
Less
think
scripted.
this man went from babyface to heel to babyface again within the space of 3 weeks, and he was
Hmm.
believable, or not even 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and he was believable in three match of the year contenders. That's charisma. That's not just ring work. That's charisma. The fact that he can literally, like we talked about when we were talking about high stakes, this man literally drop kicked Amira
I know.
across the arena, and then 2 weeks later he's getting massive cheers. And yeah, you can say most people wouldn't have seen that match. Everyone saw that match after it happened. If you're an AEW fan, you watched that match, I think. Um,
Didn't matter.
he's so good, and people are saying, "What's the story for Danielson?" The story is the oldest story in the history of professional wrestling.
It
It's the
doesn't need.
story that leads to every fucking goddamn feud in existence. Who
Who's
is
the
better?
better?
That's it. They don't need it. Fucking. All right. I'm gonna say this. Alfred. Alfred needs to shut the hell up. Man doesn't have a clue what he's goddamn talking about. Oh, Will should kick his dog. No, Will. No, Will should keep wrestling, Brian, and they should keep doing what they're the best wrestlers in the world at, and stop listening to goobers like you who haven't a goddamn clue what they're talking about. Anyway, that's my rant on that part done.
um, anyway, pugs, pug life. Will
Yeah,
loves pugs. We've got a pug. We're behind Will Ospreay all the way. But like growing up, like in Ireland, Will Ospreay grew up in the Irish wrestling scene. He's UK and he did a lot of UK.
yeah.
Like, but he grew up in OTT.
But
He's made a name for himself over here before he went to Japan. And while he was in Japan, he was coming and going. Like, never ever have I seen him speak like that. He always speaks when he speaks. He's not cutting promos. He's just speaking to the crowd. Like,
yeah,
after
he's
mostly
being
after
himself.
shows, he just talks and thanks everybody for shows and stuff. And he'll talk to most people after the shows if he has time. But that was just, yeah, I don't know. It's like a completely different person's talking, even though it's Will Ospreay. It's just
The best
way.
baby faces are the ones who just be themselves.
Mm,
Cody Rhodes is an example of that. He's an exemplary human being. He's an exemplary
mm.
babyface. Will is an example. People like to dog on him for decisions he's made in the past. Gets dragged up every little while, but he's proven to be an absolute gem of a human being in reality. Like you see what he does to support the
Yeah,
LGBT
yeah.
movement. You've the signings he does, how long he stays for meet and greets, even though he doesn't have to. Like he's just one of those talents that when he's a babyface, he can just be himself, and it's so endearing. And the fact that he speaks like he gets bruv chants in the US. I'm sorry, but that's incredible. Like
A bruv,
it's
not A
just
dub. It's A bruv now.
it just I think it couldn't be going any better for him.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think the fact that he came in and the first two matches he had were both 5-star matches, and that's not
And
on anyone
that's
else's scale. That's on my scale.
and that's just the start of it. I
And
can't
now
wait for Danielson.
he's wrestling Shibata, who literally their last match. I don't know if you've seen it. They're
No, I
matching.
haven't.
Oh my god, it's fantastic. It was Will when he was younger,
Mm.
and it was very much Will
Ricochet.
Will finding out that like fucking around and finding out with a veteran in the
Mm-hmm.
Japanese scene. He got the shit kicked out of him. So now he's in a different position to tell a different story in this match. And then the hidden blade becomes 10 times the
Mm-hmm.
story element in that match. And it becomes 10 times the story element in this match with Danielson as well. The question is, does he become as ruthless as, say, when he hit Mad Kurt with it and he didn't stop hitting him on the back of the
Mm-hmm.
neck? Do they do that while he's a babyface? Because it makes sense for him to do that if he was a heel, but they do not want him as a heel right now. So I feel like we're going to get a moment where he hits the hidden blade on one of them and he hesitates because he's babyface now. Because the hidden blade is such a vicious move, a brutal move to
Mm-hmm.
watch. He throws it with such velocity. When you're talking about two lads with neck injuries and head injuries who were told that they should never wrestle again because of it, and someone's coming after them with a flying forearm like that, it doesn't matter if you know he's not actually hitting them full on. It looks that way, and it's going to
The
make you
risk,
uncomfortable.
the risk is
It's
still
going,
there.
it's going to make you uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I think both of those matches are going to be very uncomfortable to watch as a fan of Shibata and as Danielson, and knowing how bad their injuries originally
Mm-hmm.
were. But again, I don't think they will play up too much on that because Will is babyface, and like you said, he's such a compelling one. I think when he does turn heel, he's gonna once again. We saw what he can do in AEW as a heel in his match with Omega. That was phenomenal. It was brilliant heel work from him. We saw what he can do against Boku. Brilliant heel work again. So yeah, so once again, we're saying that this Will Ospreay guy is very good at this wrestling stuff. I don't know if people know that. He's
Yeah,
just
a little
just a little
bit,
bit.
a little bit. We'll see. We'll see how he gets. Let it play out. See what happens.
Yeah.
You were comparing him there to Cody Rhodes. I'm going to move on to WWE and Cody Rhodes, and we'll get into it. We're going to do our WrestleMania predictions during the week later on, so
Yeah.
tune in for that one. But Cody Rhodes at the minute, I've heard rumors online. There are rumors. I've listened to a few podcasts, people talking about Cody Rhodes, and is he going to finish his story? What happens when he finishes his story? Is he still going to be wearing three-piece suits and pocket
He
watches?
better.
And
Sweet suits.
is that the look of a babyface or a heel though? Three-piece suits. If you go back to,
Both.
yeah, like
Depend.
is
Like
he
this.
is it like once it's over though, that's the problem that happens in WWE a lot. Like Roman's been champion for so long. The chase against Roman has been the best part of Roman's reign. Like everybody chasing him, trying to get it. Once it's over, the person who takes that title off him, if it is Cody Rhodes, what do you do with him? Like, you can't just have a babyface run and.
I think he can. I think he can. I think Cody can absolutely have a long run with that title. I don't want him to have a 1300-day run again because I
No,
don't
no,
think we should see another run that long. At least
ever.
50 years. I
Yeah.
want to. I want to be in a wheelchair talking about the good old days when Roman Reigns only held the title for 1300 days. When I don't know. I don't know who Matt Hardy's most recently born son just fucking won the world title. I don't know, but either way, I think Cody Cody is probably the easiest face of the company that has ever fallen into the lap of World Wrestling
Hmm.
Entertainment. It's so simple. He wins at Mania. He's the face of the company. There you go. That's all they got to do. He'll do the rest himself. He
Hmm.
will do everything else himself. Do you think he's going to stop doing all the things that he's doing the minute he becomes
No,
world champion?
what
No,
I'm worried about is the way WWE fans turn on people
they
whenever they're
won't.
pushed down their throat as a babyface. I just think him as a three-piece suit wearing
Well,
pocket watch holder as champion could be a fucking phenomenal heel.
I understand that, and I think he absolutely will be a phenomenal heel down the road. I don't think he should be anytime soon in the next 5 years, but
Hmm.
down the line, yeah, eventually he will have to turn heel. But we know he can be a heel. We know he can. Like we've seen him as a heel, and his independent run after,
Hmm.
we've seen him as the Dashing Cody Rhodes even earlier in his career. He's a great smoke heel. So, and then you add on to the fact that all he's learned, he's been around so many shithead heels. He's been around
Hmm.
the Young Bucks. He's been around Kenny Omega. Like I think he's fine as both. He could be the face of the company as both, but he's he should be a babyface for me for the next 5 years. I think he wins at Mania. He's your face of the company for the next decade as a heel or a face. It doesn't matter. The question is, does he stay? Because that man, he has a smile for Hollywood. Like
Oh
we all
yeah.
know. The minute that man walks off his bus, the look down, the smile, the Hollywood smile, looking around at all his fans cheering him. If he wants it, it's there for him.
Depends,
But
like, you know, you
he grew
know,
up in the business, so he might
mm,
want to stay. He might look to people like Randy, who was a mentor of his early on. He might look to people like that. Who knows? But I think once he wins that title, I think there's so many more stories to tell with Cody as champion. See, Seth turning on Cody isn't a bad idea. The problem is if Seth turns on Cody and Cody loses. Seth turns on Cody and Cody wins. There you go. You can run that for the next 3 months.
mm,
And Rollins won't be hurt by the loss.
no,
Do
he
that
never
feud.
is.
Rollins do that feud. Rollins can go off and have whatever surgery he needs, comes back. And like right now is probably the best time for after Mania would probably be the best time for Seth to get his back fixed.
Yeah, big
Because
time.
we are at a time in WWE right now where there are so many stars. His contract is running out later this year. He could easily just let it run out, take the time, or he could sign the contract and spend the first 6 months of it like just relaxing. And WWE will take that investment, I think,
Oh yeah.
considering how much of a company man he
Hmm.
is. The power couple of him and Becky sells itself. They're everywhere together. They will continue to be everywhere together. Um, so yeah, that's a program for Cody after. There's a lot of programs for Cody after. There's
Hmm.
Ricochet. I watch Ricochet. That's just the first one that popped into my head. There's stories elsewhere. The rest of the bloodline. Jay turning on. I'd like to see. It would blow my mind if Jay turned on Cody for a lot of reasons, but it would also make a lot of sense because Cody kind of forgot about for a bit. Sammy kind of forgot about Jay for a
Hmm.
bit. So there's a lot of options. Obviously, if Sammy doesn't beat Gunther, he's an option for Cody. Cody can work a match as a babyface with anyone. It doesn't matter if they're face, it doesn't matter if they're heel. We've seen it time and time again. We saw it before Mania 39 when he was doing that promo with Sammy. There is money in that matchup. There's
Hmm.
money in a Cody and Punk matchup. As we've seen.
Yeah.
Is there that much more money as a heel? I don't know. I think the fact that he dresses in a nice suit, has the watch, has the Hollywood smile, he's just a good guy. He's just a nice guy, that stereotype nice guy. But
Hmm.
we won't go into how problematic that is in
Not
general.
a politician, as Roman called him.
But, but
Kissing
again,
babies.
yeah. And it's the fact that he's so genuine that matters. Again, like we were talking about Will, it's so genuine what he puts out there. The fact every live event he's there for 30 minutes
Hmm.
after the show signing. SmackDown, he gave away his however expensive shoes and then he stayed for another 25 minutes signing stuff in socks. For like who else is going to do that? Like, yeah, you see like so Randy starting to do that now. He wasn't doing that at Cody's age. He
Randy,
wasn't
no,
doing that. No, he wasn't.
no fucking chance.
You don't see Roman doing that. Roman's current
Randy was getting in trouble when he was that age.
Roman is the current face of the company. I get he's heel, but he doesn't do anything like that. He doesn't even out of character. He doesn't even do anything like that. He doesn't grant wishes or anything, as far as
No,
I know.
no.
And again, that's not a thing on Roman. He's a heel. He's the tribal chief. That's his character. I get it. But Cody is John Cena. If John Cena was one of the best in ring workers in the world,
Hmm.
that's the level of star that
Didn't
they
wear
have in front of them.
jorts.
Wouldn't put it past him.
Hmm.
But yeah, like Cody, for me, I don't want anything to change about him. I don't want him to change. I want him to keep going the way he is as world champion. He doesn't have to be the underdog anymore, but he can still have his courage can be his greatest weakness. Now they've started to lessen that, which I liked on SmackDown. He he was prepared. He was ready. He knew Roman was going to double cross him, and he wasn't a man of his word. He was ready for it, which is character development for Cody. But I'd like to also see Cody revert, not revert, but be more trusting to other people. Kind of a case of he will trust someone because that's who he is. But if he gets burnt once, that's when it switches on for him. And I think that's what they're doing now, and I think that's really fun.
Yeah.
I think that Rock story down the line, one-on-one, that's going to be
Oh
really
yeah.
fun.
Rock
That's
and
been
Seth, Rock and Roman, Rock and Cody. Like there's
there's
matches
up.
there if Rock is still able to go.
I think it all depends on how Mania goes for him. If
Yeah.
he can,
Well,
if he can work the Mania match, that'll be when. If he can work that match without getting injured, without blowing up
mhm.
very early on, that's when we'll know what he's going to do next.
Yeah.
But it
We'll
also,
we'll talk
yeah,
more in depth about
yeah,
the WrestleMania match when we do our prediction show. Before we get out of it, I just want to talk some NXT news that you had dropped there during the week. Was yourself regarding the Nathan Fraser story, right? Regarding him being too
yes,
fast for some people.
yeah. A lot of people took that story the wrong way, and I should have been probably more clear with how I phrased it. And it's not a bad thing,
Oh
not in the
no.
slightest. It's an impressive feat for that. There's only a couple other people that get that kind of comment from in NXT. One of them is Braun Breaker,
Hmm.
and as I've reported before, there's not many people that get like audible reactions backstage when they start like running the ropes or doing athletic marvels.
Yeah, yeah.
There's so many impressive athletes, you can't expect them to react to all of them. But Fraser's one that, and Axiom as well, have been getting so much praise because they've been doing such good tag team work. They were thrown together kind of on a whim, but they're easily one of the most exciting tag teams in in WWE, probably the most exciting in NXT right now. One of the best young tag
Hmm.
teams in the world for sure. And that's the thing. Fraser isn't going so fast that he's like putting spots at risk. That's not what's happening. What's happening is he's going so fast that wrestlers are keeping up, but it's touch and go if they can keep up with him.
Burning them
That's
out.
that's that's what
Yeah.
I was that's what that report says. I just want to clear that up a little more as well. But it's a but it's really good from Fraser because Fraser is someone that, in my opinion, he's a Seth Rollins
Mm.
baby basically. He like he's basically Seth Rollins before the knee injuries,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
and he's a good promo. He's a fun promo. He's funny. He's very funny. So I think Fraser is going to go far, especially. I like Axiom as well. Axiom is learning, I think, a lot from Fraser before he put on the mask when he was a kid. That was one of
Hmm.
the one things that I think, and I think that was largely part of the language barrier at being that he's Spanish. But when his comment about the Heritage Cup and I wonder whatever happened to that guy who was the first Heritage Cup champion. That kind of humor is my shit, and it's perfect. But back to the in-ring stuff, like that match that they had on Tuesday,
Yeah.
just everything about it, the finished Spanish fly into the Phoenix Splash, just the Axiom breaking up
Of course,
the
Axiom, he just calls it the fly.
yeah, when he oh man, that's still one of my favorite interactions where he said that to me. But yeah, I could see them being NXT Tag Team Champions
Yeah,
very
I
soon.
think so. Yeah, yeah.
If Breaker and Corbin are both going up to the main roster together, which I think they might be.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of pitches for that to
Hmm.
happen. It's not locked in by any means, but that's the thing. A lot of Braun's main roster creative is kind of
Testing
touch
the
and go.
waters.
They're kind of they haven't really decided what way that they're going to go. So
Mm,
that's the thing. When these NXT call-ups go up, it does make its way down to NXT what the plans are for it. That's
yeah.
one thing as well that I think it wasn't really communicated well when Vince McMahon was in charge. Triple H, on the other hand, does they work in sequence. It's probably something that I should probably write up a report on, and I probably will over WrestleMania season, to be honest. But they work in sequence to the point that when this kind of stuff happens, they work together. Braun is still in NXT. He's
Hmm.
still the NXT Tag Team Champion,
Yeah.
but he is on SmackDown on his own without Corbin. There's been pitches for uh, Breaker to and Corbin to lose titles, stand and deliver. Corbin turns on Breaker, carrying that feud over to the main roster. There's been pitches for them to stay as NXT Tag Champs and enter the ladder match at Mania. There's been a lot of pitches about the Wolf Dogs to the point that I'm actually curious to see what comes next for them because they could easily stick together. They could be
Yeah.
split up. They really are just trying to decide right now what the best course of action for this tag team is because they did not expect them to be as over as they are. They
Hmm.
did not expect the tag team run to last as long as it did. It was supposed to end a lot sooner than it actually did. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the
Yeah.
NXT tag team division continuing to grow.
I would like if they were going to the main roster, I would definitely keep them together for a while.
Yeah,
people a chance to introduce Braun Breaker to the main roster audience. They know who
yeah.
Corbin is, but they've never got a chance to cheer him before. So
Corbin's just re-signed,
hmm
and he is a free agent by the draft rules, even
yeah.
though it's silly at this point. He's been in NXT, he's barely been on SmackDown since he actually started working NXT. So Corbin, and that's the thing as well. I had that report as well about Corbin. Everyone in NXT is very impressed by how Corbin
Yeah.
has been conducting himself and how he's helped. And the thing is, a lot of people wouldn't think that Corbin is someone that is approachable, is someone that will that could offer a lot of insight, but he is. He's been in this industry long enough. For a lot of people, it's almost like they forget how long he actually has been around in WWE at this point. So he does, and so
He's a Triple H guy. So he's been there since
yeah,
like you saw it at the Hall of. It was like 2 years ago, the Hall of Fame with the EX's introduction, and they had the
yeah,
water guns, pistols,
yeah.
and they went after Corbin,
Yeah,
and they kept going after him. They kept going after him. Like I was like playing with him.
I
Like
I like that he didn't go back to the lone wolf. I like that it's
yeah.
kind of it's a new character. It's taking inspiration from the lone wolf, but
Mm.
it allows him to still be funny. He is. I actually do think he's a funny guy. I
Oh
think a
yeah,
lot of
that
people. I
But
think a
Matt
lot of
Corbin
people.
was fucking hilarious.
I don't think. I think a lot of people just have this opinion of Corbin that he hasn't grown at all. I think he's grown in spades. I think he's took every single idea that they've given him and done as best as he can. Some of it has not been his fault. It's been the result of awful booking and stop-start booking and silliness, like when he was the commissioner of Raw, which was just torture. But now I actually am very invested in matches like Corbin versus Gunther. That's a match that if you told me about that match a year ago, even I would have been like, nah, I could do without that. Now I would love to see it because Corbin has found this groove now where his in-ring work, especially, is really starting to remind people how good he is. Everyone used to say he's only a finisher. He's only a finisher. He's only a finisher. He's proven that he's so much more than that now, and it's so good to see.
Sweet. Before we get into, I know we're talking about OTT Scrappermania, talking about Nic Nemeth and stuff, but lastly, we'll talk about this on our prediction show for Stand and Deliver, but I have to just mention Dijak and Femi got into it. We were talking about that a couple of weeks ago. Finally, we were going to get a big meaty man match at Stand and Deliver.
The way that I literally reacted at 1 o'clock in the morning to Dijak just stepping into frame and having to stare down. I just victory at last. But yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Dijak. Dijak is Dijak is someone who I think is absolutely phenomenal at every facet of professional wrestling. He gets social media so much. Everyone sees it. It's silly. It's a silly gimmick he's running. He's got a ratio shit on if you ever see
White
this.
shaft.
But again, that line it did get a pop backstage is what I've been told. But again, he's someone that down the line NXT champion, yes. What's he going to do on the main roster? I don't know, but he definitely deserves a chance on the main roster with this gimmick. It's a miracle. It's a miracle that he managed to recover from T-Bar, and I am so happy that he did get that second chance because he is such a breath of fresh air on NXT, and NXT needs these older generation of wrestlers like Dijak, like Jesus, my brain I can't. But Corbin, yeah, there. They need those two. Because these young talents, a lot of them are athletically amazing. The thing that they need to learn is just ring IQ and things like that. Just things that they need to develop to be better. Like one example that springs to mind is when Tiffany Stratton was working with Becky Lynch in No Mercy match. Tiffany went for that swanton and overshot it. Now that could have been an awful landing for Tiffany, but Becky, because and it was a simple mistake to make.
Hmm.
You see wrestlers miss those kind of things all the
Happens
time.
all the
That's
time.
not It's not a knock on Tiffany. This is just an example.
Yeah.
Becky adapted because she could see, because of her ring IQ.
Hmm.
Well, not ring IQ. She wasn't
But
in the
like
ring,
she
but you get
knew,
me.
yeah,
She
she knew where
knew,
to
so
place herself. Hmm.
she caught her to stop the impact and probably prevent a serious injury for Tiffany. So that's the kind of stuff that these NXT talents can learn from these veterans. And Corbin is one of those talents that, in that regard, the end of days is a move that could cause an injury very easily. That is a
Whiplash.
rotation that spikes someone wrong on their head. They
Hmm.
could have concussed. When has anyone ever got injured from the end of days, or the deep six, or any of these moves that does that are high impact bumps? No one, because he's very, very safe at what he does. So again, that's what this talent needs to learn from. And Dijak and Oba Femi. Oba, like I said, I'm plugging so many of my reports
Fuck
here, man. I
away.
feel like
Fuck
a
away.
salesman. Um, the thing I dropped last week,
Hmm.
or earlier this week, was Oba Femi, and they do see him as a future WWE champion. They cannot believe how good he is for the experience he has. They are blown away by how good he is.
It's
They
crazy.
aren't, and they are not going to rush him. They've learned their lesson from the past. This is something that I need to make clear, because a lot of people had problem with that part of the report where I said that there's no current plans to bring him up. That is not a bad thing. That is a good thing. That is something that they would have done under Vince McMahon. Vince
Hmm.
McMahon would have saw Obafemi and saw that
Oh
he was
yeah.
getting reactions and he'd be thrown in deep end. He wouldn't be able for it yet, and he would most likely falter.
Yeah.
But with Triple H there, Triple H can keep an eye on him through Sean, I imagine. And that's just going to be how it goes, because Obafemi is going to be a star. He is a future world champion. He is still young. He should not be as good on the microphone as he is, but he is
Hmm.
very, very, very convincing. Has something to do with the fact that he looks like he could murder someone with his bare hands. But the Dijak story is a fun one. I like that Briggs is involved. I like that he's there too. I like Briggs. Briggs is someone who a lot of people seem to not like. Like they have something against them. I still don't know what it's about, but I find him to be a very, very fun character. And lately, especially since splitting
Hmm.
with his tag team partner, I can't remember his partner's name.
Jensen.
Jensen.
Jensen, yeah.
Uh, since splitting from him, and the fact that Oba murdered Jensen and
Hmm.
Briggs was like, that's Briggs's problem. Why did you go so hard on him? Why you could have ended it so much faster? Like that's a realistic reason to be pissed off at someone. Like, so if it goes triple threat, I actually wouldn't mind. Even
Yeah.
as much as I want Oba and Dijak one-on-one, a triple threat would be fun. If it turns out that Dijak and Briggs face each other to earn that match at Stand and Deliver, that's fine too, because I imagine Dijak will win that one.
Hmm.
And and as far as I do have to say, as well, because I know how big of a fan of him you are, Tony D's recent work has also been getting a lot of praise. The vignettes that they've been running for him for months now in NXT, all the mob ones, the ones in the
Hmm.
restaurant, the sleeping with the fishes ones, the prison ones, all of these have been kind of like almost like a test for the NXT audience. As you've seen, they were kind of the first ones that really the Tony D ones were the real first vignettes that happened outside of the realm of the
Yeah,
performance
yeah.
center and so on. They alone, I think, this is an opinion. This is not based on what I've been told. What I have been told is that these vignettes will be increasing for the general roster, not just in NXT,
Yeah.
but could also be making its way more often to the main roster. What I think is it's largely due to Tony D and the rest of the family and their ability to sell these absolute corny action 70s mob movie segments. And that's the thing. They're not good.
They don't need to be.
In
People
They
love a
don't.
mafia. People love, that's why
Yeah,
Tony D is loved
yeah,
there. People just
yeah.
love that
It,
gangster,
yeah.
Italian American
People are
way of
like,
life.
this is so bad. It's supposed to be.
Hmm.
That's the entire point. It's supposed to be silly. It's supposed to be over the top. That's what Tony's gimmick is. And I feel for Tony a little, because I will have this will become a select. I think I can say this because I've said it already on a couple of Fightful shows. Trick and Carmelo are currently the planned main event
Oh,
for Stand
really?
and Deliver. Yes, that could change. If it does change, it will be the NXT Championship match.
Hmm.
That much I know. I feel bad for Tony. I feel bad for Ida, but I do understand why. Um, but yeah, I just want to get that part about Tony D in, because I know how big of a fan you are on this show.
Oh,
So
maybe Ilya is going off. Maybe he's going to have a spot in WrestleMania. You have to go off and get ready early and get across the road and get ready for it.
possibly, who knows? We'll see anyway.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll talk about again. We'll talk about that on our predictions show, won't we? We'll get into just the news from OTT as well, that they announced Scrappermania for August 10th, and they have announced uh Nic Nemeth, formerly Dolph Ziggler, as the big one.
Oh
Um,
my God, I have my match that I want for him. I've already got it, and like I just want him to face Jay. Just give me Jay against Nic Nemeth, please, for the love of God,
it'll
Joe,
be like Nick
please.
facing his younger self.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Like, and Jay is so good at all the things that Nick is good at. He's
Hmm.
selling, especially like, watching the two of them sell for each other would be phenomenal. It'd be so entertaining. They're both so good. Nick has been just on a tear since leaving WWE. Jay, we know how good Jay is. Jay, and he's going to be facing Sammy D at Supremacy. If he wins that match, he looks really good for that OTT World Title. But at the same time, with Jay and Scrappermania, I there's a small part of me, and I think we talked about this after the local rumble. Jay carrying OTT world title in Scrapper to face Barry. With everything that's been going on between those two, I would absolutely adore it.
It'd be
I know we
crazy.
were
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about Nick. I know we were just starting with Nick, but I had when I thought about Jay and that, I just had to get that out there. But yeah,
If
Scrapper's going to be a lot of fun.
what other than Jay, is there anybody else that would you'd like to see go with Nick Nemeth?
So many of them. There's so many on that roster, names that are familiar with OTT, like Robbie X would be so much fun. Damien Corvin would be so much fun. Terry Thatcher would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Sammy D, right? Did I mention Sammy already? I don't know if I did. Um, there's so many like
Well,
options.
there's two
Scotty
nights. There's
Davis.
Wolverhampton on the 9th as well. So I'd say they normally.
I think Scotty Davis will likely get one of those matches, whether it's in Wolves or in Dublin. I think Scotty will get that
Mhm.
match. Um, well, for the other
Historically,
night,
though, with Trent, because it's the rings they use over in Wolverhampton. The ring actually belongs to Trent. It's his actual ring. They don't travel with the
yeah,
ring over to Wolverhampton, and it's normally his crew that set everything up for them. So if Trent's involved, it's a
could
possibility
be a
that he
world
could
title
end up
match. Yeah,
Trent and Nick Nemeth. I doubt that
if
they'll
he's still champion.
if they still champion. Yeah, well, they are teaming
There's
up, and then they actually are they've
they
teamed
are
up in
allies in
TNA, right?
TNA,
And
famous pro
Speedball,
wrestlers.
he's no stranger to OTT as well. So maybe they'll all
I'd,
come
I'd
over.
I'd love to ask Trent about that to get an interview with him.
Yeah.
But no, I think Nemeth coming to Ireland is a great start. I think it's a great selling point for Scrapper. I think it's very telling that it's not an AEW name. That's the first big
Mm,
announcement. Obviously, the last few years, Scrapper AEW talents have been coming over for it.
yeah.
I think Joe. I don't want to say learned his lesson with the whole Mox stuff, but at the same time, it feels like if there were going to be AEW talents, it would be one of the first announcements. I
Yeah,
think,
AEW's reluctant to send talent
yeah,
on, isn't it?
I don't know what's going on with all that stuff, but at the end of the day, I think I've said it before. I'll say it again. If Nemeth's coming in, that makes it all the more likely Mustafa comes in. That's the way I see it. So I just want to see. I want to see the imports come in, but I want to see them come in and wrestle the best that Irish have.
Mm,
I would love to see Nemeth against uh, any number of the imports that we already have there, common like Robbie X and so on. But I would definitely prefer to see Jay take on. So Jay, uh, Terry Thatcher, Sammy D, Scotty. There's so many Irish names that could go up against these imports coming in. But again, you have to ask me again when there's more names
yeah,
announced,
yeah, yeah.
because then you start to really think perfect one for that So I hope
That's a
that,
long way away yet. We have
yeah,
loads in between that to happen, so
yeah.
we'll look forward to it. But we are, like I said, we're 10 days. We're about to try. Well, as it's recording, we're 10 days away from our flight to Philadelphia for WrestleMania. So between now and
Yeah.
then, there's going to be a lot of happenings.
Before we do go, I
Mm.
do want to talk about one more thing from OTT though.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know if you've seen the Supremacy announcement. Sammy D going to picks the opponents for the draw at
yeah,
OTT Supremacy. He is going to face Jay, which is a match that I think we got taken away from us by just that cancellation of the
yeah, yeah.
Wolverhampton Gaff Party. Uh, Maxer is it Damo Maxer's facing? No,
Has it been announced? Has it been confirmed?
Not Maxer. Sorry, Adam Maxted
Hmm.
is facing. I think it's Damo. Could be wrong. And Barry is facing Renzo again. So I feel like Charlie Sterling was going to be on that card, but obviously Charlie
Yeah, he's
had that
injured. Yeah.
recent knee injury.
Hmm.
The promo Sammy Cup before the match, before the announcement was only a minute long promo, but I think people really do not understand how good of a promo Sammy is. It was a very good promo, very well,
Sammy's unbelievable,
and
unbelievable.
that this is what I was saying about Jay. I think if Jay does win that match, that opens the door then for Sammy to do what we've been talking about every time we chat about him. We say it, he could easily make his name in the UK.
Hmm.
If he goes over to the UK, he sets that scene on fire just like he's done with Ireland for years. Jay, I think it's Jay and Barry's time to carry the Irish wrestling scene. I think there's more. There's like sort of Nita
There's.
Vaughn.
Hmm.
There's like the young Irish talent, and like we were talking before, and Keane Noonan is so goddamn talented for his age. Just there's so much future talent right now that Sammy has almost done everything there is to do in the Irish wrestling scene. Obviously, he's currently the Hard Knocks champion, so he'll have that's still going on as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But it doesn't seem like he's going right back after the OTT World Title, which I
He
feel
needs to
like
get
if
his
he
house in
was,
order first.
yeah, and I do love that the draw,
Yeah.
so much of what goes on in OTT revolves around the draw. There's such an underrated faction in the world of
Hmm.
professional wrestling, and the fact that there's so much like inner turmoil now, but it all makes sense. Like Jay and Barry being at well, Jay being at Barry's throat. Barry doesn't know what he's done wrong, but Sammy, it's almost like for me, like Sammy might be a little bit worried about Jay. I don't know if you get that feeling, but
He,
uh, uh,
he may have a
still,
right to be.
yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that supremacy a little. I don't know if we'll be doing anything, if you're doing anything for supremacy, and if I'd be invited on to do it. But
I'm not sure
I
we're going to be away, so
yeah, oh yes, yeah. Sorry, how do I forget that? You've said it about 6 times, but yeah, I just wanted to get that in.
yeah, yeah.
I'm so hyped for supremacy.
Anything else you need to plug? Anything else coming up and select that you need to talk about?
For the Irish wrestling fans, I earlier today I did set an interview with everyone's favorite referee in Ireland, Foxy. Don't know when I'm going to be doing that, but that should be a lot of fun given the fact how many talents he's seen come and go. As you said to me a couple of days ago, actually. Obviously, Jerry's the one who suggested I actually interview Foxy, so credit to him for
Hardest
this one.
working referee in all of independent wrestling.
Yeah, and other than that, again, if there's any Irish talent watching this or anything like that, you can find me on Twitter at Corey Brennan FF. DM me, we'll sort something out. It doesn't matter how many followers you have, it doesn't matter what promotions. If you're a pro wrestler in the UK or Irish scene, I want to talk to you. Just reach out.
Yep. We will be back next week. We have we should be dropping next week. The Irish Wrestling Awards for 2023 are finally recorded and all the tallies have been done. So that should be coming out next week. And myself and Corey and a few others will be doing our predictions for Stand and Deliver WrestleMania before we take our flight and head to Philadelphia.
I love
But
WrestleMania.
cannot wait. Cannot wait. We'll have plenty of content from that as well when we're over there. So we're looking forward to it. But yeah, as always, lads, like, comment, subscribe, join us on the next show, and we'll see you then. Thanks, guys.